It might actually help if I plug the stupid microphone in. Hello, folks. MB Geek. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. So, a couple topics I want to bring up today. What's going on with Viacom, the parent company, the one owning Paramount Plus, and what's going on there. So let's kind of take a look at this. I'm gonna share a screen because their stock has plummeted over the last 8 months after actually having a real, an amazing surge. I mean, if I had stock in this, I probably would have sold it at that point too. So let's take a look. So as you can see, folks, wow, unless you're seeing a double screen here. Let's see how this works. I'm still working the kinks out on this one. Okay, let's stop that. Let's try that shit again. Share. All right. Let's see. All right, there we go. Now let's make sure it's showing up on the screen. Okay. See if I can't blow this up for you guys. So if you look here, you'll see I'm still trying to figure out how to work this stuff. I'm still getting new to this stuff, guys. I apologize. But okay, we're just gonna go. You look at Viacom's numbers here, right around March time frame, right at the end of March, they peaked at. I mean, they had a steady incline, and they were up to right about $100 a share, and then over a 40 period, just, I mean, a nosedive. And now we're talking 8 months later, $70 a share difference. That's a lot of money to be lost. It's a hell of a drop. So the question, though, kind of comes into, well, why did that happen? I mean, there's probably a million different factors, but let's take a look at one of the issues here. Let's see. All right, let's go with this. Okay, there we go. So Viacom shares, this is back in June, led by Sherry Redstone, took a nosedive this week with the company losing more than half its market. It's actually lost more. Its stock was at a high of 100 on Monday. By the closing trading on Friday, it had fallen to $48. So what happened? Viacom had actually been on a tear for about 12 months, so they were actually making money. I mean, they were going up profit-wise. The rally came as a company, like rest of media industry, has had a move towards streaming services. Recently launched Paramount Plus. Okay, so that was probably around the same time frame. I mean, folks, we are, unfortunately, this is going to be the thing. People say, well, why don't I just have cable when I've got all these streaming services? Because cable is going the way of the house phone. The only places that are really going to currently have them, I mean, there are still phones. There are still phones with RJ45 cables and RJ52 cables. They're at companies, at businesses. Most places, I mean, I'd like to know the number of how many people actually have a house phone anymore in America. Not only that, how many people still have cable or satellite? I mean, it makes sense that the company pre-tax profits had fallen 17%. Also, its debt topped $21 billion. Ooh. Well, still better than the federal government, but stock rose so much that Robert Bishan, Viacom chief executive, decided to take advantage of the boom by offering new shares to raise as much as $3 billion. The underwriters who managed the sales price, the offering around 85 per share earlier this week, the discount to where it had been trading on Monday. Well, you could say it backfired. When the company issued new stock, it normally dilutes the value of current shares. So some drop in price is expected, but few days after offering, one of the Wall Street's most influential firms basically told them to sell. So they took a gamble and it did not work out for them. That's unfortunate. But that is how business works. And it's interesting because I know that a lot of people think, they think Paramount Plus, they just think Star Trek, or what we're calling the bastardization of Star Trek in the geek community. But obviously, Viacom's got a lot more invested than just a streaming service. So there's probably more factors than even that. But yes, they took a gamble, did not work out, and then their stock plummeted. Probably should have. Did they get a little greedy? Yep, greed is good. Greed can also be bad. Just depends on how you deal with it. So, unfortunately, we will see. I don't understand. I don't know if Star Trek Discovery. I don't see Star Trek Discovery lasting another season, and here's why. Not because it sucks, because it does. But you have Picard season 2 and 3 going back to back. You still have Discovery. You have Lower Decks. Nickelodeon has a license right to Prodigy, I think is what it's called. And, Strange New Worlds is supposed to come out. That's a lot of Star Trek IP to be, floating a bill for. And they seem to be wanting to pour as much money into it. Now, we know, I see this being the last season of Star Trek Discovery. I could be wrong. But since they got Burnham now as the captain, I can see them ending it this season and then coming out with something to say, oh, yes, we intended to end it this season on a high note. They're not going to tell us it's ending before it's over. Now, the staff probably knows, but they're probably under, non-disclosure agreements, NDAs. There's a pretty good chance Picard is ending because of season 2 and 3 being done back to back. And we have to be honest, folks. You do have to take Picard, Patrick Stewart's age into account. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to pass away anytime soon, but he's not, he's not the same actor he was back in the 80s and 90s and 2000s. So, I mean, some people like Clint Eastwood get better. Sorry, Patrick Stewart just has not aged, like a Clint Eastwood. Don't get me wrong, I like Patrick Stewart as an actor, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. Another interesting thing, California, Hollywood. I remember this saying back growing up. I'm transitioning here, folks. Where California goes, America goes. Well, apparently now it seems where California goes, Californians leave and move to Texas. I mean, shit, there are so many companies that are leaving California and have been leaving California. So this morning I found out Chef Gordon Ramsay is leaving. He's taking his company. He is leaving California to go to Texas, citing regulations, tax incentives, and I believe the other one was talent. Or no, wait, let me see. That was the full article I was looking at. Let me pull this one up. Okay. So this is back in September this year. San Francisco, California-based companies are moving out of the state at an accelerated rate this year. Companies that total 62 known companies relocated in 2020. So that's 62 companies. 74 are left the first 6 months of the year. Where are they all moving? Mostly Texas. Lone Star State gained 114 of the 265 companies that relocated between 2018 and 2020. Tennessee got 25 of those businesses. There you go. Tax policy, regulatory climate, talent availability. Texas is ranked absolute best for businesses. California ranks the worst. High taxes in California are left to blame. High taxes take a larger portion of profits is passed along to the consumer, though through higher prices. Employees through lower wages, fewer jobs. Shareholders through lower dividends or share value, or some combination of above. Thus, a state with lower tax costs will be more attractive business investment. This is just simple logic. I know that, people want to say, oh, it's just the rich. They can afford it. They can afford it. They can afford it. Well, there's going to come a point. I mean, it's just California. And if you have a company and say you make $1 billion that year, and you paid of that $1 billion, you made, say, $100 million in profit in California after paying all the taxes, the regulatory fees, and everything like that. Now you look at options, say, in a state like Texas or Tennessee, or Florida, where it is, oh, I could make $1 billion profit. I could make $1 billion, and instead of only 100 million profit, I can maybe make 300, 400, 500 million profit. And I know a lot of people are like, well, that's just greedy. What do you think these people do with these profits? Do you think every company just is greedy and evil corporations? I mean, I know it's how the TV likes to portray the evil corporation. Well, look at Gordon Ramsay, for example. He's moving because, well, he wants to put more of his money in his businesses. I mean, he puts quite a bit of his money in his businesses to make sure they stay afloat, to make sure, his people are taken care of, his employees. The days of, horrible work conditions and stuff are relatively gone. Now, are there some companies out there that suck in America that have bad work conditions? Of course there are. And if they're doing anything illegal, they need to be rooted out. But when you have places like Texas, I mean, let's be honest, Texas now has that controversial abortion law that they put in place that is still being challenged. And still the thing is, these companies that are like, I don't give a shit about this law. I care about, money, my livelihood, and the livelihoods of my employees. Because at the end of the day, folks, that's what everybody cares about. I mean, normal, everyday people don't give a fuck about some of these hot button issues. They really only care about how to make sure they're putting food on the table. So California was the bastion. I mean, you watch any movie back in the old days west, California was where to go. I mean, the Beverly Hillbillies, for crying out loud, California. Everything was always about California. California was considered this bastion, this paradise. And I think they bought into their own Kool-Aid. I think they drank their own Kool-Aid because they thought, over the God knows how long now, they've kind of drank their own Kool-Aid and decided, oh, well, everybody wants to be like us, so we can do whatever we want. I lived in California for 7 years. Great weather, nice people, nice scenery, and that's about it. Cost of living was atrocious. Taxes, I mean, nothing like buying a bottle of water and getting taxed twice. You pay the tax, actually 3 times. You pay the federal tax, state tax, and the CVA recycle tax. So, Hollywood, you're not it anymore. I think your clout it's time to reflect, say, maybe we need to get off our high horses, especially those in Hollywood who have really not a lot of problem. I mean, you wonder why some of these places are leaving. California has those liberal policies. I think I read the article. What was it? They have the attorney generals are not for these smash and grabs. They're not. These police officers are doing this. They're arresting people, and yet still, the attorney general is just letting them go. No charges filed. No nothing. These smash and grabs are getting so bad. People are getting on. What I heard was they're actually getting on Instagram and coordinating these things. Now, if I had Instagram and I was in one of these areas, I think I'd have a little fun with that. I'd coordinate. Once they went in and smash and grab, I'd take my K-bar and start slashing tires just for fun. But yeah, folks, when, California used to be that bastion, okay, people are leaving. Companies are leaving. It's one of those things when you see, like with Detroit and other areas, the people who can leave will leave. And they're going to go find somewhere else. There doesn't need to be, Hollywood, for all its touts. Remember where a lot of stuff is filmed. Georgia, Canada, Texas, places that have really nice tax codes and tax breaks. All right. That's it. California, I'd say Hollywood, elitists, all you guys, you're not the shiny jewel you used to be. I'll leave it at that. Everybody have a good one.